Hi, everybody. I'm Jeff Barton, your voice in the mortgage industry. Thanks very much for listening, tuning in. On Wednesday, we had a bit of a technical issue, so the audio did not come through. Sorry about that. Things happen, although they happen a lot less now than they did when we first started doing these back in, I guess it was March of last year. Man, it really, really goes around. The shows on Facebook as well as LinkedIn. We sometimes do Instagram. We sometimes do other social medias. All of them will be posted up on YouTube. Jeff Barton, the Mortgage Voice, and the Mortgage Voice radio show can be heard on 5 stations in 3 different states. So if you're driving around in these areas and you hear me on the radio, well, that's where you got the information from. Okay, let's talk. It's Friday, and it's the coming on really the end of February, fairly soon. Equality in housing. We often talk on the show about how that can be improved. What do we mean by that? We really mean, or I mean, that people, in order to gain wealth in America is gained normally through real estate, and the wealth that is built through real estate is passed from generation to generation. And there is a great disparaging distance between certain ethnic groups, certain racial groups. And so, in order to improve that, there are things that both FHA, the GSEs, HUD, the Treasury Secretary, the Fed, everybody tries to make home ownership easier. There are things that are wrong with that with many people, but from my own particular opinion is making home buying more affordable for people is a good thing. Making sure that everybody can get in on the way wealth is built in America. And as I said, it's built 90% through real estate. Most Americans are millionaires through their real estate, not through their business acumen. You buy, you raise your family. At the end, your house is worth more than what you paid for it, and it's probably paid off. At least that's been the formula for many, many years. So, in discussing this and looking at it, Housing Wire is a great source for this, right? Housing Wire, Mortgage News Daily, several other sources, HUD certainly. In housing, facing tougher restrictions now, which prevents that. What I'm hoping happens, and what a lot of people hope happens, is that we narrow this wealth gap, but it seems to be widening, and there's always pressure to do that in the lending industry. Now, is there a systemic problem in the lending industry? I think there's historical problems, but I'm not quite sure whether I could go so far as to say, yeah, all the banks and all the lending guidelines are arranged to prevent certain groups from obtaining financing. Be that as it may, what's happening right now? 41% of black borrowers say that tightening restrictions are preventing them from getting into the housing market. 27% of Asian borrowers, 19% of Hispanic borrowers, and 16% of white borrowers. So this tells you that in surveys done with borrowers who have gotten a loan or have tried to get a loan and have been denied a loan, that this is the breakdown of what is being said by those particular groups. Now, what does this mean? It means that we have to do a better job of either being transparent with why somebody has been rejected and make sure that they absolutely understand that and how to make sure that they can get a loan. It's not necessarily that you're denied, but it's the assistance by which either that lender or a government agency assists those people to understand what credit is, how credit is extended, not your credit score, but I mean money. If you're going to buy a house, you got to borrow money. How does that happen? And how can you improve your chances to be able to get that loan? All right, a couple other things. Rates have gone up, and that also has slowed down the mortgage market. It is also, every time it goes up a quarter point, million people less can borrow. That's what was told to us last year, and so I'm going to requote it to you now. 30-year fixed rate is at 3.04%. The 15 years at 2.46. The FHA loan is at 2.50. The jumbo is at 3.41, and the 5/1 ARM is at 2.25. The ARM product is still a great product, but you're subject to, of course, after the 5-year period, that it'll adjust. And we're not quite sure where adjustables are going, but historically, the last 20 years, they've really remained pretty low. So it's a pretty good loan. And as you can see, all of the loans have gone up quarter to a half point. which again has slowed down the industry. The forbearances are up a little bit. Permitting, however, is up, which could help in the housing affordability because there'll be more houses, prices go down. That's what supply and demand is. Let's see, we're at 5 minutes. Okay, there's a lot more to get to. Thanks very much for listening. I'm Jeff Barton for the Mortgage Minute here on the Mortgage Voice. We'll see you next time.